This video is brought to you by Osmocote, the planter's plant food.
Hi, I'm Amy Grisak, a garden writer in Great Falls, Montana, and I'm going to show you how to keep flavor at your fingertips by planting a container herb garden. Now, when you're planting a container garden of any sort, there are a few requirements you need to meet in order to have the best little garden possible. The first thing you need to consider is the size of your container. This one's 12 inches in diameter, and I really don't want to go any smaller because it's just too hard to keep moist. During the summer when it's hot, it dries out too quickly. The next thing along those lines is drainage holes. Adequate size is important, but drainage is equally important. Don't put gravel in the bottom because that'll oftentimes create a false bottom, pooling water at the base and then rotting the roots from the bottom up. So make sure there's plenty of drainage holes in there. The next thing you want to think about is more of a personal choice is the style of container and what it's made out of. Now, I really like the ceramics and the terracottas, but plastics do hold the water better. So unless you're around to really be on top just in case it dries out, you might want to go with a plastic container. And finally, go for your potting medium. I just use a simple potting soil mix that I use to start my seeds in the springtime. Don't really use garden soil because it gets too compacted. And when it's nice and light, it's more helpful for the plants to get their nutrients and also their moisture versus a compact soil. So nice potting soil mix is a good way to go. Now, when you're planting your herb garden, you want to use herbs that you're going to use. So I picked 5 of my favorites here, and I'll tell you about them as I plant them according to height. One thing you want to consider is planting the taller ones either in the middle or towards the back if you are going to keep the pot against the wall. So because you want to be able to see everything because they're just absolutely beautiful, and you definitely want to be able to reach everything. So the first one I'm going to put in is rosemary, which is an absolute favorite of mine. I had to buy a new plant this year because I didn't get mine in before a freeze last fall, so I lost mine. Now, rosemary is used for chicken and pork and in breads, really good with barbecues and really good with shish kebabs. A lot of times people will use the stems as a skewer to impart that good kind of piney flavor to their meats and to their vegetables. So you just take it out. I watered it really well before I even got here and just plop her in. So I'm going to keep that one towards the back because I'm going to push this against the wall and not turn it that way. So I want to be able to reach that. Now the next thing is an Italian parsley. This is an absolute must-have in the kitchen even if you're brand new to using herbs. You almost can't go wrong. You could put in just about anything. It really mellows out flavors. The Italian parsley versus the curly parsley also has a better flavor. So Italian parsley is a must-have. Great in cooking, great in fresh salads, just really good way to go all the way around. Now, my absolute favorite is basil. I used to grow thousands of these for restaurants until I wised up and only grow a few hundred for myself. And this particular variety is called a lettuce leaf basil. It doesn't get bitter and the leaves get absolutely huge, size of the palm of my hand. Love my lettuce leaf basil. Any good Genovese, any Italian basil is a really good choice. Great for pestos and different salads during the summer. Gotta have your basil. And the nice thing with basil is it loves to be picked. So you could just pluck off the tops and more will grow. Want to prune it heavily, don't want it to go to flower. Next is a sweet marjoram. I use a lot of oregano, but oregano is way too much to put in a container. So this sweet marjoram is an annual in our area. It's more mild than oregano and smells absolutely delightful. Really nice and sweet, sweet, sweet. So sweet marjoram, it'll only get 8 inches tall or so. So I'm going to put that in the front. And then finally we're going to end with a lemon thyme. Now at the end of the season, I'll take the thyme out and plant it somewhere in the garden and mulch it over in our area just so I can winter it over. But it's really nice to have right there. A lot of times little herbs get lost in my garden because it's pretty much productive chaos. So I like to keep the thyme close at hand. So when I'm cooking, I could just run out, take a few snips, and it's ready to go. So I'm going to put this right here by the edge because I really want that to spill over and look good. So I got all 5 of my herbs in. I'm going to keep them fertilized throughout the year. A good time-release fertilizer is a really good way to go because then you don't have to worry about it. If you're using a liquid fertilizer, you need to make sure they're fed every 7 to 10 days because all the nutrients are washing out because you're watering so frequently. Now, I will water everything in really well right now, but then throughout the season, I'm going to water in the evenings and sometimes in the mornings, depending. In a lot of places in the country, you don't want to water in the evening because of mold or mildew problems and disease, but we don't have that issue. We're so dry. So water when necessary. Sometimes it's going to be twice a day, but as long as you keep them watered, keep them fed, they're going to be really happy. Use them. That's the best thing for them. Keeping them in full sun and have a blast with them this summer. Go out and enjoy those herbs.